macroeconomic uncertainties, political instabilities, the Zimbabwean dollar had a daily inflation rate of 98%. Bitcoin introduced a new paradigm for money. The real shitcoins in our modern financial system are actually fiat currencies. National currencies that are trading at an all-time high against Bitcoin right now. So let's actually look into some of the currencies that have collapsed against BTC. And while BTC is not at an all-time high and roughly 60% below all-time high against the US dollars, the Argentinian peso has lost 99.95% of its value against Bitcoin. Lebanese pound, 99.88%. And the next one is actually the winner, which is really sad because I have lived close to that country for over a year around that time when this happened. And that is the Venezuelan bolivar, which went down by 100%. And I lived in Colombia at that time when there was max pain and max inflation, hyperinflation. People were literally on the streets, burning down the streets, burning down the cities, and it was really ugly. And still to date, it is not 100% safe to go to Venezuela. And keep in mind that those countries are not poor countries. Those are some of the richest countries in the world. Venezuela, in fact, has by far the largest reserves of oil in the world. Yet, their national currency, the Venezuelan bolivar, went to absolute zero, the biggest shitcoin ever. People are literally making art out of these banknotes. It's a meme. It's an absolute meme shitcoin that went to zero. And people really have to understand that in Venezuela, that's why you also see the countries that I just mentioned, Turkey, Argentina, Lebanon, Venezuela. Look it up on Google. They have the highest adoption rates for cryptocurrencies in the world. And that is because the people have lost faith in the government, in the central bank, in the national currencies. They are forced to park their hard-earned money in something else. And they inevitably end up in crypto because they can't store anything physical. It will get confiscated from the government. It's also complicated to get and hard to protect. They can't get into any other currencies because there are strict capital controls. I remember in Venezuela or even Argentina, the national banks or central bank especially, they don't want that their people get out of the Argentine peso or bolivar, so they impose strict capital controls so that they can't trade against any other fiat currency. And if they do that, they can just also freeze their balances. So crypto really empowers the people. It's native to the internet. It doesn't care what nationality you are. It is truly money for the people. And what comes out of this, obviously, as an inevitable next step with the success of Bitcoin is that we're creating the internet for the people. We're creating economies for people that just have access to this and can be part of something without having to ask anybody for permission, right? We're building this permissionless economy that is native to the internet and highly inclusive. Well, now you might say, okay, those are all crazy numbers, but also I don't live in Turkey, I don't live in Argentina. I pay my stuff and I have my life savings in USD and Euro, right? The strongest currencies out there. But let me tell you this, and this is since November 2015, the Euro has lost 98.9% value against Bitcoin since November 2015. The US dollar has lost 98.75% against Bitcoin since November 2015. Even those large currencies are not able to escape inflation. It's a fundamentally flawed system that is controlled by a few. Nobody knows actually who they are. We just know some names that are public, but we don't know what's going on behind the scenes. This is the harsh reality, and this is why crypto will succeed, again, because people are forced into it. And as a result of that, you can see things like this are happening, that right now 51% of Argentinian consumers used crypto, and in 2021 that was only 12%. So as a direct result of hyperinflation, people are getting into crypto. You'll see the same in Turkey, you'll see the same in Venezuela and many other countries. Now, what are central banks doing about this? Central banks are obviously not dumb, right? They understand that this system is doomed to fail, and every fiat currency in history is just by design going to zero. And what they're doing now is that they're trying to replace that with what's called CBDCs, central bank digital currencies. Some of them kind of make sense. Some of them, and actually most of them, are just a different form of shitcoinery, but they're at least programmable, which means they're trying to see how they can mitigate inflation and to avoid hyperinflation and to stimulate economic growth. However, in the end of the day, my personal opinion is that CBDCs are inherently evil and should not be allowed in any jurisdiction, right? We do see, however, that there are certain countries, for example, China, that are already miles ahead of any other major economy with the creation and the rollout of their national CBDC, but that is just a truth. We also see countries like, remember in 2018 when Venezuela announced the Petro, which was also a form of cryptocurrencies. They even wrote a white paper for that. We see the Zimbabwe government is trying to introduce a gold-backed digital currency. So you see a lot of initiatives and just a global revamp of the economic and monetary systems around the world. So this is happening, but my personal conviction, this is also my last point today, is my conclusion is that I really want people to understand that cryptocurrencies will succeed. Cryptocurrencies in the short and maybe mid-term are extremely volatile and are, yes, considered as a speculative investment, get-rich-quick scheme for many people, right? And I agree, there are opportunities where you can make life-changing money in crypto, and that's beautiful, that's amazing, right? As long as it's not based on any sort of scam like OneCoin or Bitconnect or all these kind of things. But in the end of the day, the true fundamental basis for cryptocurrencies is to empower people, to be inclusive for people, to not exclude anybody. It's also that it's programmable, on-chain, verifiable, and immutable. And all these kind of things, in my opinion, make crypto the most exciting place to work in 2023, because we're gonna have a true impact. And I know that a lot of people are watching this and maybe on the verge to decide, should I get into crypto, should I not get into crypto, should I put my money into crypto? Obviously you need to know that for yourself, but in my opinion, I think if you're fundamentally convinced of this industry, then there is no way back once you're in it, right? And finally, yes, Bitcoin as an inflation hedge or a safe haven asset is considered, especially in the Western world, as a meme, right? But if you look at all the countries that I just showed and look at the charts, and you can see that it's not actually a meme, it's actually a reality. That said, I hope you enjoyed the video. If you enjoyed it, please share it, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Stay safe and be good.